I've seen a lot of people brag about snagging budget power backup units that look good on paper, only to discover after a power flicker that the whole thing collapses and their desktop dies. That Etherneted was good enough regret is what makes me pause before throwing money at any UPS. The question I keep hearing from folks who work from home or run a small studio is, am I really paying for something that will actually keep my gear alive, or am I just buying a fancy brick that will sit on my shelf? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through exactly why the EATON 5PX G2 1440VA 1440W line interactive UPS feels like a smarter buy compared to the cheap knockoffs you see on garage sale sites, and when it makes sense to walk away. First, let's talk about the kind of setup most of us have. I'm looking at a typical home office, a PC with a monitor, a router, maybe a NAS for backups, and a couple of USB hubs for peripherals. For creative folks, you might also have a small audio interface or a 3D printer. The core need is simple: if the power goes out, you want at least a few minutes to save your work and shut things down gracefully, without the whole system grinding to a halt. That's where a line interactive UPS shines. Unlike the cheap offline models that just switch on when the voltage drops, the line interactive design corrects minor sags and surges on the fly, keeping your equipment running smoothly. The EATON 5PX G2 offers 1440VA and 1440W of capacity, which translates to roughly 10 minutes of runtime on a mid-range PC plus a monitor under typical load. In practice, I ran a test on my own workstation, a 6-core i7, a 27-inch 144Hz display, and a router. When I simulated a full outage, the UPS kept everything alive for about 8 minutes before the battery hit the low-voltage alarm. That gave me enough time to hit save all in my editing software and shut the system down without a crash. If you run a heavier rig, say a workstation with dual GPS, don't expect 20 minutes, you'll see the battery deplete in 4 to 5 minutes. Knowing that limit ahead of time helps you decide whether the unit meets your needs. One of the hidden trade-offs with a device this size is the footprint. The 5PX G2 isn't a tiny tabletop unit. It's a fairly tall, rectangular box that takes up a decent amount of desk real estate. That can be a problem if you have a cramped workspace or if you're trying to keep your cables tidy. On the upside, the unit comes with 8 NEMA 515R outlets, which is a far cry from the 3 or 4 you find on those dirt cheap models. 6 of those outlets are battery-backed, and the remaining 2 are surge-only. That actually lets you plug in non-essential devices like a lamp or a printer that you don't need during an outage, while still protecting everything else. Another practical strength is the clear LCD panel that sits on the front. It doesn't just flash a generic battery low warning, it tells you the exact runtime remaining, the load percentage, and whether you're on battery or line power. In my experience, that information makes a real difference during a sudden outage. You instantly know if you have enough juice to finish a render or if you need to shut down immediately. Some cheaper units only have a tiny LED that blinks, leaving you guessing. Now, let's address a common buyer hesitation. Do I really need an intelligent UPS, or will a simple surge protector do the trick? The answer depends on how critical your equipment is. If you're an occasional gamer who only cares about not losing a saved game, a basic surge protector might be enough. But if you're a freelancer who builds client deliverables, a sudden power loss can mean missed deadlines, data loss, and extra hours of re-rendering. For those people, the line interactive technology that the EATON provides adds a layer of voltage regulation that protects against brownouts, those subtle dips that can corrupt hard drives over time. Even if you never experience a full blackout, those small sags happen more often than you think, especially in older neighborhoods with aging infrastructure. Who should buy this UPS? If you have a dedicated workstation, a small server room, or any setup where uptime matters even for a few minutes, this unit is a solid match. It's also a good fit for photographers or video editors who need to protect high-value storage drives. The battery-backed outlets ensure that the drives have a clean shutdown path. Small business owners who run a POS system or a router-based network can also benefit, as the 8 outlets give room for multiple devices without having to daisy-chain chargers, which is a safety risk. Who should skip it? If your power draw is minimal, say a laptop and a single monitor, you'll likely be overpaying for capacity you'll never use. In that scenario, a more compact 600 VA UPS can handle the load and will be cheaper while still